Right now, an ABC11 Eyewitness News special, Hurricane Helene, 1 year later.
And thank you for joining us as we mark 1 year since Helene tore through western North Carolina. I'm Joel Brown.
And I'm Diane Wilson. Helene blamed for more than 100 deaths in our state alone, causing billions of dollars worth of damage.
Eyewitness News was right there as the storm was hitting. And now 1 year later, we are revisiting some of the people and the places that were impacted the most. And while there are signs of recovery, the pain is still there for so many people.
You know, that includes the family of Kim Ashby. She's one of the people still missing 1 year later. Kim, a wife, mother, grandmother, and career teacher, lived in Sanford with her husband, Rod. He was with his wife when the floodwaters of Helene tore them apart.
I live it every day. Every day. It doesn't matter. There's always constant reminders. It's just something that someday, hopefully, it'll get easier, but not yet.
Not any easier for Rod Ashby, the husband of Kim Ashby, the Sanford woman still missing, a year after Hurricane Helene floodwater swept her along with her 3 dogs away from Rod.
I see the house hitting the side of the embankment. I still see the house falling apart. I still see Kim riding on the debris. I still see me climbing on debris to get to her. I still see us hitting the tree. I still see her going to the right and I'm going to the left.
Separated in the raging floodwaters that took their vacation home in Elk Park off its foundation.
I've always wanted a cabin on the river, so we found a piece of property and we decided to go ahead and put a cabin on there.
The plan to retire to their mountain cabin as a couple lived in Sanford. Kim, a career school teacher in Lee County at Sanley Middle School.
She was 1 year from retirement.
When the Ashbys heard Helene would hit western North Carolina, they traveled from Sanford to their cabin in western North Carolina.
We went up to open up the garage doors. I put braces underneath the doors so that, you know, the water could go through.
Rod says the day Helene hit, September 27th. In the morning, the Elk River was high outside their home. But not long after, Rod says he heard a big crash.
I looked down the stairs and I saw the outside wall lift up about 3.5 inches off the brick concrete. And I told Kim at that point, I said, we gotta go now.
Rod says Kim, along with their 3 dogs, tried to escape from a window in the back of the house. But before they could do that, the house got knocked off its foundation and slid in the river.
We were in the room and the water come up and the bed started floating around because I put her on the bed and the dog's on the bed and it started floating around. And we were heading down the river.
You can see in this picture captured by one of their neighbors, the Ashby's house floating downriver. Rod, Kim, and their 3 dogs inside.
I watched the house turn and I told her we're gonna hit the embankment. And we hit the embankment and at that point I found myself that I was under the water. I couldn't see anything. When I was able to get on the debris, Kim was about 20 feet in front of me. So I crawled to her and I was pulling her trying to pull her out of the debris, and I couldn't get her out. I moved some debris, I got back behind her and I started finally getting her to come out, and we hit a tree. And everything just kind of went that way. She went to the right and I went to the left. And I just found myself in the water, going down through the water, and I was hitting a bunch of trees and stuff. And I was finally able to grab a tree enough to slow me down where I could crawl out.
Banged up, but desperately looking for his wife.
Every day I'd get up in the morning and go try to find Kim.
Rod wasn't alone. As Kim's family, along with search and rescue crews and hundreds of volunteers, desperately searched for Kim for months. And while they did find her clothes, they have not found Kim a year after Helene.
And you realize when you're standing on top of a mountain by yourself, what's really important. It's not the materialistic stuff. That's just stuff. But when you lose, you know, your companion, They're tough. Especially when, I mean, I don't even remember the last words I got to say to her.
The official search for Kim has ended, and her family did have a celebration of life for Kim. Rod says he doesn't have hope Kim will be found, and it's okay.
At this point, I just want her to be in her resting place. I don't want to disturb her, if that makes sense. So I'd rather just let her rest in peace.
It has been such a tough year for Rod. Understandably, you can hear and see the heartbreak that he is going through, and he is not alone. Another community losing 11 family members when Helene swept through. It's a story first uncovered by Eyewitness News in the aftermath of the storm.
I relive it every day. There's not a night that I don't lay my head down that I don't relive it. It's every night, and that's been tough.
A tough year for Jesse Craig and his wife, Mackenzie.
I know it's been a year, but it doesn't feel like it's been a year.
It seems like I'm standing here September 27th of 24. I cannot grasp the fact that it's been a year already.
A year since the community known as Craigtown was forever changed by Hurricane Helene. Multiple mudslides destroyed everything in its path. It took 11 lives from the Craig family, including Jesse's mom and dad. So many homes in Craigtown, the family's proud history, piles of rubble. In the days after Helene, Jesse walked me around his family's land, still numb to the loss. But he wanted to share how his grandfather bought this land more than 80 years ago. And for decades, the Craig family continues to call it home. While the weeks after Helene were so tough.
I catch myself thinking almost every day, standing in the middle of all of this unfathomable destruction and the miracles that came out of it that are walking testaments today.
Some of those miracles. Look at this red truck. One of Jesse's family survived the onslaught inside of it. When the mudslides came, carrying his truck to here, he had to break the back window to escape. Another family saved from this house.
It was not open like that. It just took it all.
Now, a year after Helene, Craigtown looks vastly different.
The land looks better, but our hearts will forever be scarred. A piece of us, a huge, huge, huge piece of us died that day. And we have spent the last year trying to figure out.
As we walked around where Jesse's parents' house once stood.
This is a morning glory. This is my mom's favorite flower. She planted that, and it made it. This was where their porch was.
Little, unexpected blessings.
She got the seeds from her great-grandmother and planted them over here.
His family is still with him.
Yeah, a little piece survived.
Also still standing strong, this flag Jesse and his cousin found in the debris and placed here days after Helene.
We saw so many miracles through the pain, and that kind of helps you keep the faith, because it's like even through the bad, there's always going to be good somewhere.
And focusing on that good is what Jesse and his wife says has helped them get through the dark days this last year, which includes the overwhelming support they did receive.
At the peak of the flooding after Helene, the apocalyptic amounts of rain in the Swannanoa River Valley swelled the river to 27 feet flood stage. That left most of Biltmore Village underwater, and from the small locally owned stores to the national hotels like the Grand Bohemian, all of it was underwater. 1 year later, there is still a lot of work to do, but there's still plenty of hopeful signs of a city rising again. Brunch is bustling again in Asheville's Corner Kitchen.
I like to think that we're the light that's going to bring everything back. The plaque right here shows you how high the water actually got. Unbelievable when you think about it.
This plaque now memorializing the Helene floodwater line, tacked to newly constructed walls and flooring, 2 levels of dining area completely rebuilt.
You can see that dirt line up there.
A year ago, Corner Kitchen was in ruins. The 20-year-old Asheville restaurant, famous for its everyday brunch and daily Egg Benedict specials, was covered in mud and muck. It took weeks for the water to recede, and then came the months-long effort to rebuild. And on August 10th...
Thank you, sir. Appreciate you.
Corner Kitchen opened its doors to diners once again. Native Ashevillean Patrick Hackney is the brunch manager. People walking in that you haven't seen in 7 or 8 months, and what are they saying to you?
Oh, they're just saying thank you. Thank you for being back. Thank you for doing the work to get here.
It's been very hard to see some of the stuff that we've seen.
Determined tourists like Pam Horwell and Randy Smith are here for a conference, but these Tennessee out-of-towners made it a mission after Helene to keep Asheville on their destination calendar.
Coming from and living in a tourist area ourselves, we certainly understand and respect how vital and important that tourism piece is.
We were here 2 months ago and stayed at the DoubleTree, and none of this was open. And it was so eye-opening and so heartbreaking. So we come over here and spend our money to help the economy.
Just across Biltmore Village, the famed row of shops and stores which were submerged in water this time last year are in varying states of repair, some of them days or weeks or months from reopening, but it's not guaranteed.
The place was hit so hard, so the whole towns were wiped off the map, and the fact that we're still here and people are happy we're here and we can give them some comfort, that like, while everything's different, we're still the same, that's everything to me.
This is my first time back in Asheville since December 2023. I proposed to my now wife right over at the Biltmore estate. That night we had dinner just across the street at the Grand Bohemian. It's a special place for me and so many others, and it has been heartening for me and a lot of the folks that we've been talking to on the streets to start feeling this place come back to life after all of that Helene despair.
One of the more than 100 people killed in the storm was firefighter and battalion chief Tony Garrison of the Fairview Volunteer Fire Department. For the first time, we are hearing from his wife, Mary, about that tragic day. While she says the loss is unimaginable, she takes some comfort in knowing her husband died saving others.
What I witnessed that day, I hope I don't live to see it ever again. But I do know that that fear is there.
The fear still there. A year later for Mary Garrison, the widow of the Fairview Battalion Fire Chief Tony Garrison. He lost his life while trying to save others during Hurricane Helene.
He grabbed his coat and he does what he does. He was gone.
Gone out the front door after seeing a landslide in front of their home.
I had no clue that that would be the last time that I saw him, because it didn't occur to me. It's like, I've been his wife for 28 years, and he's been in the fire service for most of that.
Mary saw her husband save his relative from her home shown here, and then the Garrison son Dylan and nephew went with Tony to help rescue others.
And I saw him and my son and my nephew go down the hill at his cousin's house, and that was the last time we saw them.
Another massive landslide wiped out more homes in what's known in their community as Craigtown and Fairview, killing 11 people from one big extended family.
We were told that my husband and my son and my nephew had all passed. I hit my knees because I couldn't believe. I happened to look out her door and I saw movement, and I realized that somebody had somebody on their back and they had a red coat on. And I remember thinking that my son had a red coat on. I couldn't get out the words, "Is he dead?" And they're like, he's alive. But we've got to get him out of this cold, because he had been caught up in the landslide.
Covered in mud, but alive.
I wrapped myself around him, and I remember just thinking, please don't die.
While Mary stayed with her son, her mind still thinking about her husband, Tony.
I was very much torn because that's your husband. But you've been told multiple times that he didn't make it. So if I felt like I could have gone to him, I would have.
Tony and his nephew Brandon both died in the landslide. Dylan survived and while pretty banged up, no major injuries. Since Helene, Mary says Dylan has been able to share what those last moments were like with his dad.
He said we heard a noise and we looked up. He said his dad said run. And he said, Mom, he said, there was just no time. He said, we took 3, maybe 4 steps, and he said, our feet was just swept out from under us. When they found Dylan, his dad had his arm around him. In some way, Tony saved 2 lives that day.
Since that day, Mary says a day does not go by that she doesn't think of her husband.
He loved his family, and he had some of the funniest sayings, the most unique laugh.
He also loved his job, a career firefighter.
I cannot say thank you enough to the men and women of his fire department, because I know he was their brother, but I became their sister because they took care of me and they took care of my kids at a time when we didn't know what our future looked like, other than it was just dark.
While this last year since Helene has been so tough, Mary, along with Dylan and their daughter Hannah, traveled to Maryland when Tony was honored at the National Fallen Firefighters Memorial.
The way that they honored him, as well as all the others, it was amazing to see. It was very hard to see his name, but I was glad that I was there for that.
Tony also honored at the North Carolina Fallen Firefighters Memorial Service.
We've been treated like family everywhere we've gone.
As for Dylan, who was with his dad the day he lost his life, he's now following in his father's footsteps, graduating from the Fire Academy.
Right now, I just take it day by day.
For Mary,
hour by hour, minute by minute.
She did get this tattoo so she could always have a piece of Tony with her, as it's his thumbprint in the shape of a heart. That tattoo, a way to always feel that her husband is close to her.
The town of Swannanoa was one of the hardest hit communities, and I've been here reporting on it since the moment the waters came rushing through and took out this bridge, and where I'm standing was once a gas station. There is some progress happening here, happening faster for some than others. For the Mills family in Swannanoa, it has taken the whole year for them to see some relief. Their home was destroyed in the flood, taking it off its foundation and leaving it frozen in time at the point they had to escape through the roof. 1 year later, after many tears, several moves, and a question in faith, their relief appeared in the form of a new custom-built flood-resilient home.
I feel like we won the lottery. I'm a lot more patient with pretty much anything now. Yeah, I mean, the ones you love, really, that's not even like top thing that matters. That's like the only thing that matters. Like, I don't know, I could live in a shack, and as long as my folks are okay, then that's cool.
Tamara Scott, ABC11 Eyewitness News.
Hard to imagine looking at it right now, but when Hurricane Helene hit, the Pigeon River rose 28 feet. That meant everything where we are right now was underwater here in Canton, including this brewery. The blue awning was the only sign that you could see that this brewery was even here. They have been working hard to clean everything up, and now, a year later, they're almost ready to open again. Helene may have tried to force last call at Bear Waters Brewing in Canton.
A year later, there's still beer in some of these tanks from last year that we haven't drained yet.
The tanks may have held inside, but everything outside them was underwater.
It's still a little bit of post-traumatic stress. I mean, every time it rains hard, you start looking at that river.
They already rebuilt once after Fred in 2021, but that was nothing compared to Helene. They wondered if it was worth it a second time.
You get asked that by a lot of your family and friends. Why? I mean, the first time was ego. Second time, why would you do it again? And that's where, you know, it really is our heart.
It took a lot of work, and even now they still find dirt left over.
Every nook and every cranny, behind boards, behind walls.
After almost a year of work, finally getting close to finishing up their new bar and kitchen, but they had to change some things around.
All of our canning and kegging and things of that nature for the operation took place down here. The bad part about this building is the floor we're standing on now is the same level as the river base.
The tanks will be retired, and the brewing will now be done off-site at another location and then brought to the bar.
It's actually like leaning on an old friend to help you out.
Those new changes will make it easier in case another storm hits, that they can evacuate with what they need. But just like the rest of Canton, as the mill town reinvents itself, living to fight another day, they're reopening just in time to mark 1 year since Helene.
Get as many folks in here and as we can and rebuild, have the sound of laughter and the sound of people in this space again, and people on the water, enjoying the water and not just being afraid of it.
And as the first beers are poured,
that first pour will represent us overcoming and being resilient once again in the face of that much adversity.
Ready for a well-deserved toast 1 year later.
Here's to the future.
In Canton, Tom George, ABC11 Eyewitness News.
And it's that sense of community that so many people are holding on to as the recovery process continues.
So many touching stories, and you can see more reporting from our team here in Western North Carolina right now on ABC11.com.